love the flow.
Sadness is a butterfly. Can you hear me? How's it going? So, election day, election night. So yeah. Does this thing have audio?
Trump is in the lead there with 51.2% of the vote. Kamala Harris has 47.7% of the vote. Donald Trump is ahead of her by more than 206,000 votes. That's with 83% of the estimated vote in. That's Pennsylvania. Battleground Michigan, Donald Trump up 51.3% of the vote. Kamala Harris has 46.9% of the vote. Donald Trump with a more than 111,000 vote lead with an estimated 44% of the vote in from Michigan. Wisconsin now, Donald Trump in the lead there too. 50.8% of the vote. Kamala Harris is 47.6% of the vote. Donald Trump almost 80,000 votes ahead of her with 3/4 of the vote, 74% of the estimated vote from the Badger State in. Battleground Georgia, Donald Trump is up 50.7%. Kamala Harris is 48.4%. Donald Trump more than 118,000 votes ahead of her with an estimated 93% of the estimated vote in. Arizona, Donald Trump ahead there too with 49.8% of the vote. Kamala Harris has 49.3% of the vote. He is more than 7,500 votes ahead of her right now, but they still have about 48% of the vote to count, 52% of the estimated vote in. In Nevada, Donald Trump is in the lead with 73% of the vote. Kamala Harris has 26.2% of the vote. Donald Trump has a more than 10,000 vote, almost 11,000 vote lead. That is with only 2% of the estimated vote in. As we follow these crucial undecided races, we are already also getting closer to another poll closing. 4 more electoral votes are at stake in the next hour in the heat of the battle to reach 270. So every electoral vote counts. We're just minutes away from voting ending in the reliably blue state of Hawaii. Over to John King now at the Magic Wall. John.
So, Jake, a quick look. You just went through the numbers. Just want to look very quickly. These 3 states, Wisconsin, Michigan.
For a lifetime.
The world to do as a first or second term congressman. All of the stuff you hear from Trump and J.D. Vance about trade and about building America, this has been Sherrod Brown's brand, his core belief, his principles, the things he's fought for and voted for his entire life in that state. And so far, he has been successful.
Kitchen
in
table
managing
issues.
to
What do you
swim
think?
against that tide.
Americans want
And
people that
tonight,
look out for Americans.
A Mercedes-Benz dealer. Really, like beat him, and that's where
not
like
just a Mercedes-Benz dealer, a man who's made a tremendous amount of money in cryptocurrency.
Yes.
So Bernie Moreno's first target is going to be the SEC chair, Gary.
Let me also say there was about a $40 million spend from
The joy is gone from their eyes right now. What's going on CNN?
This is where he's overperforming. But just look at Battleground, Pennsylvania. Look at all these red counties, places that Trump wins, where he's overperforming by 3% or more what he did in 2020. Then you come out here, let's go up to Battleground, Michigan. These are the decisive states left on the board right now. Look at his base. He's getting more. The same over here in Battleground, Wisconsin. So the former president of the United States, given up for dead, Jake, after January 6, 2021, is running stronger now than he did in the last campaign.
It's a red country with a couple blue cities.
Don King, thank you so much. Every electoral vote counts, and 4 more are on the line right now as polling places are about to close in Hawaii, and we project Kamala Harris will win.
They haven't even started counting, releasing Hawaii automatically to Kamala Harris. Straight up
Democratic
garbage.
vote, but that does mean a pickup of 4 electoral
I can't
votes for
imagine you
Kamala
being in
Harris.
Hawaii, having family members, and seeing what Biden did to Maui. Not what he did, but how he didn't help Maui. Continue to send hundreds of billions of dollars overseas, but say, oh yeah, you guys get nothing. We're going to go ahead and have use FEMA to block you from bringing resources, and saying, you know what? People lost their lives. Our liberal government locally did terrible things. But you know what? 4 more years of that garbage. Not all Hawaiians are like this, but it's sad to say the next disaster that comes around, and if it was Democrats in power, you almost get what you vote for. You don't want to be too callous because it's not everybody there. Like, I was a Los Angeles resident that hated all these Democrat values and these ideals, but it's like, you get what you vote for sometimes. It's crazy.
Now, when you come back to 2024, but it's just, sorry, 2024, let me come up here and do this and hit this, and you go there at 2024. So that's the one, it's just a dramatic change when you come here. And so Donald Trump is remaking the map again at the moment, and the question is there any way for Harris to come back? Again, we've given Donald Trump North Carolina.
Win conditions.
So let's see where we are in Georgia. If Donald Trump also carries Georgia, the vice president cannot afford to lose Pennsylvania. Yes, Nevada's out there, Arizona's out there, Michigan and Wisconsin are out there. 19. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. So can she come back in Georgia to stop that from happening? She's limiting her. If he wins Georgia, her path is so limited. So it's 118,000 votes right now. In a state decided 4 years ago by 11,700 votes, Donald Trump with 93%, that's an important number, of the vote counted, is ahead by nearly 120,000 votes. So you're looking, this is where they would have to be. You can pick up votes elsewhere, but that's where most of the votes are. That's close to half of the state
93%
population,
in.
right in
He's
Atlanta,
down by
in the metropolitan area around it. So
150K.
what's out
I don't
there?
think it's going to
Are
happen.
there live outstanding votes out there? Well, let's take a look. The answer is yes. Let me get rid of the coloring so you don't have to see that. The answer is yes. They're out there. You're at the point now where you're talking about drawing to an inside straight flush, essentially.
Yeah, that
You need
straight
these votes
line
to
that
come
goes
in
directly up.
Overwhelming numbers for you. But
I
you do
remember
see
that.
There's the
You guys are going to need a
mathematical
pipe burst for that.
possibility. This is why the Harris campaign is on the phone. This is why I assume Donald Trump has not come out yet to say anything. Because
If you think you're useless, imagine being this guy.
As well.
Yeah.
You're looking at the math right there. It's possible. So we're waiting for more votes in Georgia. So then you come up, Jake, and we'll look at the blue wall states in a minute to see if any of the math is changing. But if you look at the map right now, you would so much rather be Donald Trump than the vice president.
You would so much rather be
All right,
Donald
and we have a projection, John. CNN can project that Kamala Harris will win the Commonwealth of Virginia. Commonwealth of Virginia, with its 13 electoral votes, will go to the Democrat Vice President Kamala Harris. What does that
Virginia.
mean for the electoral math? Let's take a look.
Yeah, she's got to lead by like
270
200K.
electoral votes.
Seems
needed
about
to win.
right.
Donald Trump is only 40 behind that with 230. Kamala Harris has 182 electoral votes. Let's bring you a key race alert. Where are we with all the states that we have not projected yet? Pennsylvania, Donald Trump in the lead, 51.3% of the vote. Kamala Harris, 47.6% of the vote. Donald Trump has a more than 213,000 vote lead over her with 84% of the estimated vote in from Pennsylvania. In battleground Michigan, Donald Trump up there, 51.2% of the vote. Kamala Harris has 47%.
He said that he took down the votes map or hit refresh and it's gone.
107,294 vote lead over Harris.
That's still there for me.
But there's still about 55% of the vote that has not been counted in Michigan. A lot of votes to count in Michigan. Wisconsin now, Donald Trump 51% of the vote, Kamala Harris 47.4%. Donald Trump with a more than 92,000 vote lead over Harris. That's with more than 3/4 of the votes counted in Wisconsin, 77% of the vote. In battleground Georgia, Donald Trump up 50.7% to Harris's 48.4%.
120K,
with a
93%, and they're not calling it?
38 vote lead over Harris, with 93% of the estimated vote in. In battleground Arizona, Donald Trump up 49.8% to Harris's 49.3%. Donald Trump with a 9,600 plus vote lead.
That could be what he needs if he gets Arizona. It's Pennsylvania, gets Georgia, gets Arizona.
In Nevada, Donald Trump up 73% to Harris's 26.2% of the vote.
Nevada's like,
oh, almost 11,000
we won't be done for another week or so.
Again, with only 2% of the estimated vote in Nevada counted. Still a lot of.
Let's see. Okay, let's go ahead and get to some super chats because I think I fell behind a bit. I think I even saw a super large one too. Thank you, Maybe Sunshine. Martin says he's drinking, but he's gonna black out if Kamala wins. I mean, no. Love yourself more than that, unless you're having a fun time. Unless you're partying, don't be like that. Freak Fu Master says those 84 stayed out there. I mean, who knows what happened. Ladstein says, in the Fed, fix the Department of Education. No. I think Donald Trump and Elon Musk are going to dissolve the Department of Education. I love it. And then in the Fed, who is the libertarian that is now going to be on with Elon Musk to fix the Department of Government Efficiency? I forget his name, but libertarians are excited about it. I think the Fed will be fixed and the Department of Education will be dissolved and those billions of dollars can go to local schools. I love it. Star Williams says, just $1 super chat. Really appreciate that. Jeff Hardy says, how long have you been live? Been checking for it since like 9 tonight and couldn't find the stream. Also, thanks for keeping the people informed. I have been live since 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. We've been live for over 4 hours. I feel like I should take another 5-minute break, maybe run an ad, and maybe collect a cat so I can carry him on this thing. But yeah.
I don't have speakers.
Thank you for the super chat, and I'm glad you tuned into this because you guys have lots of options. Like, let me look at the live stream lineup right now of who's live. You got Fox News. You got you even got I don't want to call her out, but there was a girl that used to be because I'm calling her out. There used to be a girl had a really good insights. I think she even did a live stream with Tim Pool on the street in Europe one time, and then she was a conservative. She disappeared off the internet and then came back, and to my understanding, does adult content. Very weird, but she's live streaming right now. But right now, you could be watching Decoy Voice. I don't even have 1 million subscribers. Or you could be watching Actual Justice Warrior, Adam Francisco, Anthony Bryan Logan, Ben Shapiro, Devory Jenkins, Devory Darkins, H.A. Goodman, Penguins, Moist Critical streaming right now. Pirate Software is on. Officer Tatum, The Quartering with his entire team. Timcast IRL with his entire team. The Daily Wire's got their entire team. The Whatever Podcast. Like, there's so many people you could be watching larger than me, and 5,000 of you guys tuned in to watch this. So I'm glad you guys like just hanging out, looking at memes, and reacting to some stuff. Thank you. Daniel Strasser says, forget CNN. The polls are not closed. You're standing in line. Stay in line. Thank you so much. Be out there. Cast your vote. Enjoy democracy. This might be the last time we can do it. But yeah, they're not closed. Stay out there. Good on you for sticking in there. Elite Clutch says, please promote this. Look at NYS map. New York what map? What is that? NYS map. Let's see. NYS map. What is that? Is it just the map? Wait. There needs to be a separation of the city and state. Prop 1 was approved because of New York City. It's New York State for Trump's, MAGA. Oh, yeah. New York City is the only reason they're blue. You got Buffalo and Rochester stay blue, but the state, by and large, is a conservative state. And that's what they always say. It's like you have a conservative country and liberal cities that tell the rest of the people.
Donald Trump? Harris, Watch Party Live. Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. Maybe not. Maybe I'm not. Maybe just North America. I don't know. Buzzkill. What do you think, Taco? Can I watch it? Can I play this music or no? I feel like I can't. It's just like
detail just yet, but that was one of the big questions in the campaign. Spent a lot of time on my trips at Wayne State campus, younger voters, a lot of Arab and Muslim students at Wayne State, a lot of young progressive students at Wayne State.
Is that Tucker
Did they lose the
Carlson?
youth vote there? A lot of the questions. Now, I'm raising questions that we'll answer in more detail tomorrow, next week, and the week after that, when we have final results. But if you're 158,000 votes ahead, only halfway in Michigan, I mean, hate to say it, but like, you're looking at this, and like that's the best of the three blue wall states.
Let's go to Wayne County right now. Let's go to Detroit, where we find Jim Sciutto as an update on the vote count there. Jim?
Jake, there have been a lot of questions and some consternation as to why we haven't seen more data from Wayne County yet. And I just spoke with the Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson, and we believe we have the answer here. I asked her quite specifically. And she said the reason is that Wayne County, in part, given all the scrutiny on this county as it impacts the outcome of the election in this state, is not reporting partial results. It's waiting until it has either all or the vast majority of those results in before it, in effect, gives that batch and makes it public. And I just want to highlight one point that's going to happen in the next hour, perhaps even the next few minutes. A nondescript U-Haul van is going to drive in one of these doors behind me here with the last remaining outstanding absentee ballots in Detroit, part of Wayne County, about 4,000 we expect. That's the final batch, not just, we are told, of absentee ballots outstanding, but the final outstanding votes in Detroit, a big part of Wayne County. So when that truck comes through the door, they begin to tabulate those. That gets us to the point where they're going to have, in effect, all the votes they need to count and get to that point where they're going to be ready to report those final figures. We were told it could be in the next few minutes. We'll be watching. We'll report back when it happens. But that could be the point when you get that big batch reported publicly.
All right, Jim Sciutto in Detroit, Wayne County. And you were noting that we don't have Wayne County to the granular level, that we can't see Dearborn and other places where there were a lot of uncommitted votes during the Democratic primary. But just to remind our viewers, during the Democratic primaries, as a protest of President Biden's support for the Netanyahu government of Israel and its war on Hamas in Gaza, 100,000 Democrats voted uncommitted. Presumably most of them as a protest vote against Biden for that issue.
Yes, absolutely. And most of them were located here in Wayne County. Again, you have Detroit, progressive city, but also Hamtramck and Dearborn, just to the north and to the west. Large pockets of Arab American communities there that are very angry at the White House. And then the next one, you come out here, again, this is Washtenaw County, where I've been 4 times, maybe 5 times, no 4, in this election, to go to the University of Michigan and talk to people out there. And again, we're at 71% right now, so the numbers could change, but she's at 66%. This is Ann Arbor, University of Michigan. Again, we have a big college campus. It tends to be a very liberal pocket, progressive pocket. You're saying, wow, 65% of the vote, 66 if you round up, that's great.
Oh my God.
73%. And the math, 157,000. To 103. Again, we got 30% of the votes still to come in, and maybe the percentages change as well. Maybe all the votes that are out are from the campus, and and it juices up the number a little bit. But if you're looking at that now, you're underperforming the President of the United States. And Donald Trump's at 32%. At 26%. That's. I mean, if that gap holds and if his improvement like that holds, I'm sorry. Go ahead. That's a big deal.
Well, I was just going to say one of the things you hear from the Arab American and Muslim American community in places like Michigan is not that they were going to vote for Donald Trump, but they either were not going to vote or they were going to vote for Jill Stein or Cornel West. I'm not sure if Cornel West is on the ballot in Michigan, but I mean, these numbers don't add up to 100 here, so I'm guessing that there is a better than, my guess would be, educated guess would be there's going to be a better than average showing for Jill Stein in Michigan than in other states.
Right, and she worked it hard. She was out there quite a bit. Every trip I was out there, you saw activity, either she was in the state or had just been in the state.
Yeah. So just to explain it. Now, one of the other things I heard about people talking about Michigan is everybody in the media, all you talk about is the Arab American, Muslim American vote, but really the issue in terms of a big sizable, bigger chunk of votes is white working class voters, union voters, because the Trump campaign ran ads slamming Harris's position on electric vehicles, EVs. And that is actually going to be more significant.
What I honestly think is going to happen is I do think Trump is going to win. I'll be honest. That's what I think.
Is there any way we can gauge how well our coalition did compared to Biden when it comes to white, non-college educated
how are
union
you?
voters?
David would have the exit polls. We can look at union households. That's a question on the exit polls. I can show you some counties where we were. Three times I went out there to talk to union auto worker groups. And I want to just say this up front. There are more automobile manufacturing jobs in the United States today than at any point during the Trump presidency. I repeat, there are more auto manufacturing jobs in the United States today than at any point in the Trump presidency. However, the EV debate is a debate. Stellantis just laid off 1,100 people.
Oh, EV, okay.
In
EVs
part
are
because
not
they say
really...
they have electric vehicles sitting on the lot. The
Way to
union
go.
says that's BS.
I think hybrids are the way to go.
They're not keeping their word, but this is a conversation. Are they going too fast? At a minimum, are they going too fast? There are some auto workers
too many
who say,
horror
why are you forcing this on us? There are others saying the infrastructure's not in place. Culturally, people aren't ready for it. Why are you going so fast? So one of the places you'll find that is right here in Macomb County. We met Joseph Knowles, just laid off from Stellantis, a black union auto worker.
It's a shame everybody is afraid to speak their political mind. Yeah.
He was voting for Donald Trump. So everybody in his family was
I
mad
kind
at
of
him.
lost some friends.
This is where you find them right here. Bill Goldberg, another Ford worker in Macomb County, who wanted to run the County Union. When he
Shag
dropped out back
along.
Trump, Bill Goldberg said, that's great. I love them both. And he voted for Trump a third time. So some of them have been in
Thank
Trump's
you for the
camp,
gift
like Bill Goldberg.
subs. I mean,
But
wait,
Joseph
hold on.
Knowles was
Infector
a
subs. Sorry.
Democrat
Sorry.
all his life, right? So they're in Macomb County.
I feel like that streamers
36%.
always see that.
But Trump at
Infector
58,
subs.
when you round that up, Trump at 53, right there. So again, we'll see if that sustains itself.
Yeah.
And the Biden number at 45, the Harris number at 40. If that's the number at the end.
38.
Yeah,
very hard.
well, there you go.
Goodness,
And you can see why not all of that change is from that one issue or that one demographic I described, but that is quite significant. At the voting desk, let's jump to Wisconsin if we could, because Pamela wants to talk about Milwaukee and what's going on there. Pamela?
Yeah, I've been talking to officials there in Milwaukee County as well as the city. Let's look at Milwaukee County right now. A large portion of the vote that remains is from Milwaukee City itself. This is the largest county. This is the largest city in Wisconsin. According to a source in Milwaukee County, 9 out of 19 municipalities are completely reported. And the source also says that the county clerk there expects all results from Milwaukee County to be reported between 2 and 4 a.m. tonight, Central Time. So these results coming in overnight there from Milwaukee County. That is the expectation. Now, let's dive in here to the Milwaukee City. I just spoke to an official there. Milwaukee City has 27,724 mail-in ballots left to be counted so far. In addition, officials are still waiting for results from 4 wards still, and those would be the day of votes, so from election day. So there's still quite a bit to go to count tonight there in Milwaukee City. For context, 69% went for Biden in 2020. And as I mentioned, this is the largest county in Wisconsin, so we're keeping a close eye on this.
She's trying to get people with like good music, good vibes. Well, I guess it's too late now. Voting
critical point she makes, 4 wards in the city of Milwaukee still have not reported
Too
their
bad we
election
can't
day
listen
votes.
to it.
And again, anecdotally, just texting people out in the state, they said turnout was good. They weren't saying great or gangbusters, they were saying good. So we wait, you wait. But again, so we're waiting for the city. This is Milwaukee plus the suburbs around it, the county is what you see here. But she's at 66%, and Joe Biden's at
Buddy,
69%.
wait,
So
wait.
when those city of
From
Milwaukee
Elon.
votes
See,
come
that's the
in,
thing, like,
that not only does that percentage need to move, but that math needs to
I
change quite
appreciate that
significantly if you're
Elon
trying to
is,
make
like,
up
you know,
that. Now, 96,000,
trying
that's
to
better than
do the right
150,000,
thing.
right? Simple math, people. We always say
But
politics can be very
I
complicated. Sometimes it comes down to basic arithmetic.
personally think that
Are there enough
electric
votes
vehicles
still
are
out there
dangerous.
to overcome a 96,000
full
vote lead?
electric vehicles,
And
I think
so
they're
if Pam says
dangerous.
4 big
I've
wards
seen a
are
lot
still
of
out in
horror
Milwaukee
stories,
City, there's a little bit more in Milwaukee County,
regarding them.
the answer is maybe. Right? Again, you're getting to the point where you're drawing to an
So, I don't
inside
know.
straight flush.
I think,
But maybe. So then you look around in other Democratic
there's so many,
areas,
like,
and again,
old used
Eau Claire
cars
is getting 55% of the vote. I just
that
don't compare
can
that.
be just,
Same
That's okay. A
Is
little
there a
better
need
maybe.
to make
But it's
is
not a
there,
ton.
like,
It's
even a
not a
need
ton
to
of people
make
there.
so many?
And you come down to lacrosse. You're looking at the blue areas. You're saying, is there anything? Not much left, right? It's not a huge swing anyway. So even if you pick up some votes, you're not picking up a ton there. So if
That's
you're
a
looking at
whole
this
thing.
map now, I just want to check what was our percentage here. 95% in Dane
So, I
County.
wanna show you
And
guys
these other
something.
blue counties around it, I'll hit them for you. You just see they're pretty small population-wise. I mean, not.
Hold on, where is it? So this video.
场地的新能源1万台车。
This is a field of over 10,000 Neta V Chinese EV cars that are rotting away.
600多台啊，21年的，都是50公里以内啊，上牌新车。
Can't see. Are there
And this
subtitles?
man
No,
has
there's no
just
subtitles.
exclaimed that these BYD cars, all 2021 models, have less than 31 miles on them. Just like that field of 10,000 cars, they all have license plates on them, they're all fully registered, and they've been put away to rot. Yes, all of these cars have been left to rot. Why on earth is China throwing away entire fields of electric cars? By now, we've all heard that China's EV sales are outpacing the rest of the world. You'll see the headlines that say,
It's
China
kinda cut
is
off.
now the
Here,
leader
I'm
in
gonna
EV
put
sales,
window
and
capture.
Tesla's got to watch out, and all this other nonsense. Well, guess what? It's true, the numbers are true. But what you're not taking into consideration is that China is the land of shortcuts and facades. And all of these
This
cars
is
that
no
you're
hate
seeing
to
in this
China, by the
field,
way. Like,
well,
this is
they're
just
counted in those
awareness,
numbers.
okay?
Let me explain to you what's going on. Should be around. Yes. I love my extra wallet
sponsor.
as well. But dirt bike riding, we all know it, and all of it. Their design, I'm constant that I can look good. People come and test extra out to get a foot.
No,
The BYD. That's because that you see huge amounts of them just parked out to rot. Well, you see, that's because they need the numbers in order to get subsidies from the government, in order to put out
Not
the
sure.
sales figures that they've sold more than Tesla and that they're leading in EV production and EV sales. They need to have these fake sales. So BYD themselves will register them and put them on the market and then claim that they've been sold. And then, of course, they've got all those excess cars and they just stick them in a field. And
You can make history tomorrow.
But there's a bigger problem. There are even more car graveyards. And that has to do with this stupid investment scheme. Let me explain. In China, very often you get these fly-by-night investment schemes. Someone comes up with a good idea like bicycle sharing, for instance. And guess what? People jump on the bandwagon. They raise a bunch of investment capital. They start a company. We saw it go absolutely crazy with the shared bicycle schemes. We covered this on the China show where we showed these mountains
I
of
don't know why I typed
bicyles that had been
when I could've
discarded
just
because
said
the
it. He lived there
companies
for 10 years in
knew that
China,
if they
so
pump
he's
these
just
bikes
he's
out,
just
they'd
trying to bring
keep getting
awareness
investment.
to-
So they just kept pumping them
Here's
out,
the thing,
even when
guys.
it wasn't financially
Like,
viable.
here's the thing. It's not necessarily that he's biased. It's that we're being held account, like North Americans and Europeans and whoever, like, you know, we're being held accountable for the carbon pollution You know what I mean? And here in Canada, we're being taxed now. We are being taxed on carbon. It's called the carbon tax. And, you know, Canada produces what, 2%? Is it 2% of the world pollution or something like that? You know, don't quote me on that, but you know, and it's a fact that China produces I don't know how much. I'm gonna check ChatGPT. %. In 2023, China was responsible for approximately 30%. That's a pretty significant number. Okay, now let's check. Same. What about Canada? 1.5%. That's pretty high too. I said 2%, so it's actually lower than I said. Okay, what about USA? What about US? United States is responsible for 13 to 15%. That's pretty significant. It's more than I expected, to be honest. But anyway, this guy's just trying to bring awareness. Let's see, transportation sector, including cars, trucks, planes, and ships, is another major emitter, accounting for nearly 30% of total U.S. emissions. So
viable, because like a Ponzi scheme, you just keep getting your investment money in, and all of these bike companies pretty much shut down.
So what I'm trying to say is, you know, for a country that is responsible for 1.5% of carbon pollution, you know, we're being taxed, and taxes don't really fix carbon pollution, like, because the government doesn't actually use the money to actually fix the carbon problem. They just like go on like vacations to Jamaica and stuff like that. So I mean, I don't trust electric vehicles.
Except for two. And a lot of the people that started these bike companies ran away with investment money, never to be seen again. The bicycle sharing schemes kind of came to an end in late 2018.
You know what they do?
And then suddenly, and because the bicycle sharing investment scheme had now disappeared,
small businesses,
people stepped in with a new investment scheme for shared vehicles. And this time it was for electric cars. Now, there's this fantastic video, which I'm going to link below in the description. You can see it in the background here. But there's a documentary filmmaker who went and took drone footage of the shared bikes, and he made this video called No Place to Place in 2018, where he showed all of these massive mountains of the shared bike failures.
Why the fuck am I getting it?
But
you know what I mean? Like,
he then went in 2019 to film the fields of abandoned electric vehicles. So this is No Place to Place 2. And what you're seeing are these fields of shared cars. You see, the idea, like shared bicycles, would be that you have an app. And if you need a car, you can look in your app and see, oh, there's a shared car nearby, a shared electric vehicle. And you go and you unlock it with your app, and you can drive to your destination and then lock it again. It's actually a very nice idea. It's not a bad idea at all. But of course, because it's all a money grab and it's a ridiculous scheme and a Ponzi scheme type situation in China, they just pump these things out without doing proper market research, without actually seeing if it was viable or not. And so the end result is fields and fields of thousands of hundreds of thousands of abandoned vehicles that are now going to rot. Now, this is where it gets insidious. These cars are electric vehicles, and that means they have batteries in them. So not only have you created a lot of waste by developing cars that are not going to be used and that are going to be left to rot, I mean,
Toronto's proposed rain tax is a stormwater charge that would be based on the amount of hard surfaces on a property: roofs, driveways, parking lots, and concrete landscaping. Who the wants that? Who the hell wants that? Like, they literally want to tax us for rain. Seriously. I don't know, like Toronto is planning to tax homeowners and businesses for rain. April 2nd, 2024. I want to know when. Like, I don't think that's how they would word it, but okay, I'm sorry. Whatever. It doesn't matter. The point is, they're
steel
trying
and
to
glass
tax us
and
for
liquids and chemicals and
soon they're
all the
gonna
rest that goes
tax us
into
for
it.
breathing,
But the batteries,
peeing.
everybody knows that these electric batteries that are used in electric vehicles are incredibly complicated and require a lot of very dangerous mining and chemical processes to create.
You voted Trump!
There are human rights atrocities attached to making these batteries, if you want to look into it. Child labor, slave labor, that kind of thing.
Okay.
But the detriment to the
everyone
earth
thinks that because I'm
in
supporting
mining
Trump,
all of these chemicals and all of the
like super right-wing
materials needed to create these electric vehicle batteries is just insane.
But I do
so
think
now
that
you've created all of this environmental damage
right
to make these cars, and then you just let them rot in a field. And of course, now they're going to create even more environmental damage because they're going to sit there for however long with all of these chemicals and batteries in them and all the rest of it. And they're going to pollute the environment further. So it's like a double whammy. Not only have you damaged the environment making them, but now you're damaging the environment by discarding them.
Am I allowed to say it?
And this is where China tricks everyone. You see, you hear about their great green initiatives, this being one of them. Oh, look, China's really pushing forward in renewable energy and electric cars.
Even women don't vote woman.
And
like,
if you just read headlines
Kamala
and you look at the numbers, etc., you would think China's doing a very good job. But what you're not seeing is the fact that China is actually destroying the earth at a rate never before seen. So you have to look past the facade, and people still don't seem to get this.
Long COVID,
China is an opaque
I don't know,
country.
Like, it's just like
they block all of this information from the rest of the world. You would not be able to just...
Okay, anyway, you get the point. Like, I don't trust electric vehicles. That's the point. Let's refresh this.
That the younger candidate, you know, there was a lot of talk that a younger candidate would draw younger voters, but Joe Biden drew them in a larger numbers than she appears to have.
Carl, you've been on the back end of nights like this. You have been digging into the numbers.
Vance lost
what
his
board
hometown.
do you have for us now?
He lost his hometown. He was
Where
from
we began, it all comes down to Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania that goes for Trump will settle the contest. It'll be mathematically impossible for
kind of going off the rails.
So, as you looked at tonight, what did you see as it unfolded?
Hi, Hunniebee. Love the digital lipstick. Thank you,
as it
Fast.
unfolded, a little bit of change. Earlier in the evening, it looked like he was doing slightly better in the big city urban areas. And in some suburbs, like in Georgia, he was not doing as well. But tonight in Pennsylvania, for example, he's doing better in all four of the southeastern suburban counties, as well as doing better in the rural parts of the state. And it is an unusual coalition. It's inner city ethnics, it's Catholics who have been for decades the principal swing vote in America, increasingly Hispanic voters among them. And he's knit together that coalition tonight, along with working class people in small towns and rural parts of the country.
If I could just add one data point from our
USA
FNDA on Pennsylvania and the white Catholics, it
13
looks like
to
Trump is
15%.
running about 1 point, almost exactly the same as 2020.
Sorry,
in fact,
I need
Trump's
to-
actually
I need to,
down
like,
1 point
see
with
if
the
I
white
got
Catholics
all
in
the
Pennsylvania. So that's about the same. But union voters, he's also
much do you
seeing
think Trump
a down
getting
arrow
shot
there, about
helped
3
him win
points.
this
He's
election?
running down
How
below
much
his
did it
2020 levels.
So, there's still hope for the blue wall for the Harris campaign. What are you hearing?
that there's still hope. Obviously, I didn't love to see the go take a nap and we'll get back to you in the morning about all of this, but we do have to keep in mind that the race in 2020 wasn't called for days.
To be honest,
Biden won Pennsylvania on Friday of that week and Wisconsin on Thursday, I think that it was. We'll see. I think it's close that there's vote coming in. There was some conversation over how much of the remaining vote in Philadelphia existed, and there was an extra 120,000-ish votes that were out there that could go into Harris's column. Two things, though, that I've been thinking about. One, and Dana knows as well how much I love to throw out a good door-knocking stat, right? So 2,000 door knocks a minute for the Harris campaign. Does any of that stuff matter anymore? And we'll see how this pans out. She could win with the simple route through. She already, getting Nebraska second, but the Harris campaign ran a conventional campaign, right, where raising money, souls to the polls, that kind of stuff matters. Will that be the path going forward? The second thing is, if this night doesn't end up going in Harris's direction, and barring some big change, she will have underperformed Biden in 2020 in every single demographic except college-educated women. And even with college-educated women, it wasn't the overwhelming win that we thought it was going to be, or that was projected in some of these very prominent surveys. And when you think about the fact that there were some people, I didn't think we were going to win Iowa, but that we had seen surveys where he was only up 5 in Kansas or up 3 in Ohio.
They're trying to lower it.
Take a lot of refocusing to under.
Okay. Yes, they're people are using EVs in China, but they're also just exploding on the road. They're having a lot of accidents, way more than here. Here you hear about them, once in a while, but in China, every day in China. And if it's not from an electric vehicle, it's from a scooter, moped, whatever, anything they, and then they also mass produce it, like you saw, they mass produce them, and then nobody's using them, and then they just rot away. Same thing with the bicycles, because people jump on a bandwagon. I don't know, hopefully you listen to it, but you know what I mean? So on one hand, yeah, people are driving EVs, but on the other hand, you have these huge graveyards of electric vehicles or bicycles or whatever the next business venture is that might ultimately kind of fail or whatever. Ad blocker for the win. How much do you trust ChatGPT? They're far from 100% correct. AI is not there yet. So usually the things I ask ChatGPT are things that I've already heard.
It seemed like it was one decision
from a YouTuber that I trust.
I'm sure if she loses Pennsylvania, there'll be a lot of
I watch a lot of YouTube.
This feels much bigger than
I wouldn't say I trust everyone. I started. Oh my god.
So
I started going crazy on X. I don't know, it's just so fun to troll people. But anyway,
does that not make sense to you?
Well, no. I mean, we're pretty good at saying.
I don't know where I was going with that, but
95% of the vote is in, and that not turning out to be, turns out to be accurate. It's been very rare. I can't imagine in one instance where we
ChatGPT, right? So
90% of the vote in or 85%.
I wouldn't say I necessarily trust.
And that turned out to be grossly off. I will say
people
this,
that I
did
follow.
Want to follow up on one thing. Think about all that she had to face. This is an abysmal number when it comes to the approval of the sitting president. No party has elected.
Sorry, I have a new setup, so I'm still getting used to everything, and I'm still getting used to. Not still getting used to. I'm re-establishing my stream here. The thing about X though is, do you guys know about X Spaces? Everyone is glued to their phone right now. do you guys know about X Spaces? Let me see. Home. I don't know if this is a good example, but let's start listening and see. Election news and results.
He's grabbing the mic. I don't think it's a victory speech. I think he's trying to put everybody on notice that if we catch you fucking doing this shit, we're gonna lock you up.
Yo,
I think these guys are right
if the New York Times is saying Trump got a 93% chance of winning, he won because they fucking hate his ass.
Oh yeah, it's Jeff Bezos, baby. Yeah, they don't like him at all.
No, Jeff Bezos got the Washington Post.
Oh,
we're talking about the New York Times.
No, yeah, we're talking about the Times, yeah.
That they do 95% negative stories about Trump since 2016, 2017. If they're saying he's gonna win, then he has fucking won. I literally have in my possession the New York Times paper of them saying not fucking guilty when they tried to impeach him that first time. That's how much I love
I'll kind of like
Grandfather
listen
Trump.
in on these
And I want him to
X
make America
Spaces,
great
right?
again.
And then I'll kind of like ask ChatGPT, like, you know, is what they're saying true or not? And then maybe I'll ask Google as well. But I find Google, I never information like history and stuff like that. It's fine, but when it comes to like searching for something specific that I'm like kind of looking for, like it just like loves to give me super vague, super duper vague, and just like sponsored, all the same, like all the same article. Like I don't know. It's just like I never really get any answers, you know, one way or the other from Google. One way, like it's just like everything's so vague now. I find that Google used to be a great resource, but maybe like sometimes like a Reddit post will help me, like, but I don't have like Reddit, like a Reddit account, and I don't really feel like getting one. I feel like Reddit is maybe not somewhere I want to be, although I do find that the only answers I get usually are from Reddit when it comes to Google searches. So
a president when they're
anyway, I'm talking a lot. What does it mean? Is he coming on stage? Okay. I love Harajuku Hunniebee. Wait, I love Harajuku. Hell yeah, Trudeau is a multi-millionaire right now. Right? I think so. My lipstick matches my headphones. It does, or it did.
A relatively small difference between these two people. Look at Pennsylvania, 50.9 to 48.1.
Can you guys
and
hear
yet
it?
At the end of the day, a series of victories that are 1 and 2
The video's a little louder than me. Oh.
Generate a commanding number in the electoral college.
Okay, I put my microphone like much closer to my mouth.
If it all goes like it
is that better?
To be more effective in office.
Harold Ford, are there going to be Biden people that say he could have been better?
I think it's hard to make that case for some of the reasons that I think Britta and Carl have made the point.
All right, let's do blue. I mean, the headphones are purple, but we'll pretend it's blue and red. So I look patriotic
for her. Did she win African American women, Hispanic women, white women at a bigger rate? Were there disparities between the two? And then the race thing for me, I'm going to be curious also to get more. We heard that the numbers around.
Do you guys think if Kamala wins, there's going to be a world war?
We see a race where in a country where the cultural issues impact, because you were talking about the suburban areas in some places he wasn't performing, and you see the suburban areas in Pennsylvania.
I don't know.
And
People
elsewhere
say
where the economic
people
issues,
talk about that.
fracking, and
That kind of scares me.
livelihoods of those communities were at stake. Then you have the cultural issues.
X is a blessing.
I think the issue around transgender rights was a bigger issue than Democrats really understand what it meant and what it meant for girls playing sports. I'm a father.
First time voting for him yourself.
Little boys are playing little girls sports and going to
yeah, like honestly, like in 2016 when he was first running, I thought like, oh my god, the U.S. is such a joke. What a joke. What a joke. The U.S. is such a joke. Sorry. Why is this? Like, I just thought it was such a joke.
Where it is this evening.
I'm not going to belabor this point, but
And now I'm like, I don't know, maybe he's actually good for the job. Like, he's not necessarily, is he a good person? That's up for discussion, I think, right? I think a lot of, and the mainstream media wants you to think that he's Hitler, which is I think it's ridiculous, and hopefully, you know, people don't actually believe that because that's ridiculous. Nobody, literally, like, I don't know.
Mainstream media, which
So,
tends to take its cues, to say the very least, from Democrats, and to repeat with serious faces the charges he made.
He's a businessman, right? And at the end of the day, isn't the government like a business? Don't you want somebody who's really good with money to like be running the country's money? How, like, don't you think, how good was, how good was our money spent? How was our money spent last week? Sorry, not, well, ours too, even Canadian money too, like, everyone's money. How was everybody's money spent
He's currently leading.
last week?
One thing I was looking at here, okay, this is
Taxpayer money.
Philadelphia.
You know.
This is 2016. This is Trump's
Go and ask your parents.
margin in Philadelphia. 15 and a half, okay? Then he comes back 4 years later. Philadelphia, that's where you, I mean, it's a Republican running any...
Even women to work for women, like women,
He's just shy of
don't
18.
support women in BNA. Why not?
Yeah, so where is he tonight? He's almost at 21, okay? So hold on that moment, okay?
What does Chat GPT say is Trudeau's net worth?
There's a reason for this.
That corrupt weasel.
Wow, that was a nice move. Yeah, I like that. You caught me off guard.
Justin
So let's go ahead and look at the vote difference for Pennsylvania. Some things I want to show you right now. You know, we talked about this Democratic march over here. Really, when we talk about the blue wall, here's where we stand right now. Okay, reach higher.
All right, let's check in on Kamala.
3 percentage points. Now take it down.
Let's refresh.
Littlest Pet Shop.
Open your own Littlest Pet Shop. More Bob.
Littlest Pet Shop. Oh, happy Veterans Month, everyone, by the way. Donate a digital poppy to honor Veterans Month. Okay, let's see. Alright, so they're not like, nobody, wait, so like, but is anyone talking about anything? Like, they're just playing music. Maybe this isn't the right stream. Does anybody know if like Kamala's live, or you know, like her party is like congregating somewhere? Judgment Day. Watching the election. What is this? Highlight reel gaming. Is that like? Where is she? Where is she? Like, obviously Trump is here, right? Oh look, people are gonna talk.
Go ahead and clear this.
If anyone can find me the Kamala stage, I'd love to see that.
I want to show you the blue wall and how, you know, if it's moved every direction for the past 3 decades, is it about to move in the same direction yet again? Right, there's 3 counties here in Philadelphia that really tell a story.
All right.
These are your flipper counties, all right? Look at Northampton. All right, Northampton is above Philadelphia.
Oh, what is ChatGPT? 10 million. Wait, as of
back to Trump by about 5 points.
Justin Trudeau's
Look at the other end of the state,
range between 10 million and 17 million.
Erie is one of these bellwethers as well. Kamala Harris has been.
He goes to Jamaica all the time
just about 30 minutes
on a private jet.
Flipped.
So I hear, allegedly. I'm pretty sure he does.
Right smack dab in the middle of that T that you normally get in Pennsylvania.
After this election,
That's where Penn State University is located.
I'm gonna switch over to Canadian politics and pay more attention.
In Pennsylvania thus far tonight. There's a real good chance he flips all those and maybe more shortly. So I want to show you that. We'll go ahead and clear it and give it back to you guys, okay?
I bet it helps
really
how
interesting.
he
We're getting some
recreated the
action because
most.
we're hearing the former president is going
I
to
bet it
his
helps
party
how
in West
he
Palm,
created
but
the
we're
most.
also seeing Cedric Richmond
What exactly do
and
you mean?
Harris Walz
Did you
campaign
see
co-chair
they are arresting
speaking
people in the
at
UK
Harris
for
Walz party.
yeah,
Let's listen.
like they want to do that in Canada, or they might already be, or like so, I don't know.
Not been called yet.
That's going too far. Just report it. Like if somebody says something bad, you report it. There's no need to send a police officer. Like oh my goodness, unless that person like shows you that they have your address and they're gonna come after you. Like chill. I'm a Swiftie, so you're a Swiftie, so you have to vote for Kamala. No. No.
But to address the nation. So
I mean, sorry, like, you do you. You do you.
May God bless you. Keep you.
I still love you, FPS. Okay, wait, okay. Wait, is this the Harris? Wait.
Richmond, the campaign co-chair.
People are booing. Why? Something's happening. We can't play this music either. So I'll play Trumpular. Trumpular instead. Oh. There.
Love the flow.
I just like this song.
69. Now it's time for new.
It's really catchy.
People, and we must do it. If we don't control insiders, this will be over and over. To lead by an any big fat love, find common ground to halt the spread of lies, and we must do it big fat love, find common ground to halt the spread of lies.
People are still dancing, which means there's still music.
America
oh look, they're dancing to my music.
America first. Non-fatal. We want to build a much better, believable people, and we must do it non-fatal. Communication very much higher. America first. To lead by an
You should use this song.
Insiders fighting for insiders. Time to stop. Insiders
Or,
fighting
like,
for insiders. More
music to
of
create, like, better
insiders
lyrics.
fighting for insiders. Time to stop.
I'm a smart gal.
Insiders
Oh,
fighting
thanks.
for insiders. America first. Love the flow.
You have not messed with X spaces.
69. Now it's time for new, believable people.
Sorry, I'm just
and
like
we must do it. If we
stretching
don't
my leg.
control insiders, this will be over and over. To lead by an any big fat love, find common ground to halt the spread of lies, and we must do it big fat love, find common ground to halt the spread of lies, and any America first, America first, non-fatal. We want to build a much better, believable people, and we must do it non-fatal. Communication very much higher. America first. To lead by an any. Insiders fighting for insiders. Time to stop. Insiders fighting for insiders. More of insiders fighting for insiders. Time to stop. Insiders fighting for insiders.
Stole from
America
Google
first.
for its algorithm training. Sam Altman stole from the whole internet without paying royalties. Damn. So I'm assuming ChatGPT stole from. Did it steal from? Well, that's the thing. See, it stole from Google, the information from Google, like, or did it steal, like the AI function that Google has now, kind of thing. But I mean, like, I don't endorse stealing, obviously. However, Google, maybe the Google AI, I honestly never used it before, and I just saw it here today, like, kind of it was telling me stuff. So maybe Google is now gonna be like, but the thing is, they had that scandal. They had that scandal with Gemini. So I don't really, you know, like, yeah, it's okay to jump off a bridge or whatever it said. Like, obviously, it's not okay to jump off a bridge, you know. So that's kind of why I don't still like. That's kind of why I just got so fed up with like looking up things on Google and not ever finding what I was looking up. Because here's the thing, guys, I'm old. I'm 35 years old. I remember when Google was actually good. Okay? So when you go from something that's really good to really not good, you look for other options. And I don't necessarily, you know, like say I would trust ChatGPT because I haven't really heard like I don't know, I didn't hear as much of a like what was it, scandal regarding ChatGPT as I did with Gemini. So, but again, like I kind of use it for cross-reference. I don't just like, you know, wholeheartedly just, I don't know, like I'm asking it things that I already heard other people talk about that I trust. So, can you guys hear me? Oh, okay, I think so. Anyway, I'm down here because I'm stretching my leg. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. Oh, I'm smart to get up and move around. Yeah, I have to. My leg reminds me. I'm not sure if you know, but I broke my femur. So my leg definitely reminds me to like get up and move around. You hear me? Sam Altman. Let's find out who that is. Without paying royalties. So he stole from me too then. So can I get my royalties or how does that work? This guy, I feel like, wait, CEO, has he done anything else other, like, what did he do before? What did Sam Altman do before? I guess, like, this is an instance where I'm asking it a question that I didn't, you know, necessarily hear someone else mention, but maybe you guys can cross-reference it for me or with me before open, or maybe I will be reminded of where I recognize him from, you know what I mean? Open AI. Looped. Okay, so I don't recognize anything that ChatGPT said, so I'm gonna go ahead and assume that I simply recognize him because of OpenAI, and you know, it's, you know, popularity in the last year or two, or however many years it's been. I don't know anymore. Your old ass needs to lay on the ground face up for your back. You feel it, really? Yeah, sometimes that feels good. It's a yoga pose. What is the yoga pose called? What is the yoga pose called where you just lay on your back? Is it even a pose, or am I just making this up? Savasana? Shavasana. Also known as corpse pose. Corpse pose, okay. See? I know things. Why is there no audio?
From Nevada so far.
Oh.
But Arizona, it's coming in sort of droves. It's a close race there.
I feel like
Wisconsin and Michigan. Michigan seems to be counting there like 54, 55%. Wisconsin at 2 a.m. in 2020 had counted 99% of the votes. So we think there's a chance we might have enough data in Wisconsin,
huge salad.
maybe Michigan. So
should
we
I
may
do a
have some
mukbang?
resolution more quickly than we thought.
So in Pennsylvania, you know, Sean talked about this earlier, the early vote and what that looked like and what she would have to do day of in Philadelphia and those counties right around there. Is it possible
That's my thumbnail.
that's still out there and it's possible to do?
Well, it seems to be a probability diminishing by the hour.
Actually, I'm not going to do.
I think this is something from the Georgia data, but we've also seen it in Pennsylvania. Young African American men did not come home. Part of the African American vote came home to her, but a lot of it didn't, and there's a gender gap there. And the Georgia, I think, I have to run the numbers, and I'm not going to lay this at the feet of any demographic group in particular, but she really did seem to underachieve amongst African American males, especially young African American males.
I mean, it just makes me think about Michelle Obama and Barack Obama, the former president, and the very strong appeals that they made. Michelle Obama said, you know, don't let your husband or boyfriend's rage dictate your vote. President Obama talked about bringing out brothers and scolding them. That does not seem to have been a strategy that worked.
Darren, did the Fox News voter analysis track with what you saw with raw vote as you went around the states?
Yes. You know, there were a couple. What we're doing early on is we get this early vote from Indiana and Kentucky. It allows us to kind of figure out is the FNVA performing consistent with the data. There were a couple states where Trump overperformed a bit. Florida was one. We were a little concerned that we might be overestimating Trump's performance in rural areas. But the more data we got, the more that didn't seem to be the case. It seemed like he was basically hitting what we thought he would hit.
I mean, we've got the brain here. Did anybody else have a question for Darren?
I'm curious about immigration and what you've seen in terms of how much that played into the votes in some of these states.
Well, I think the one thing we can say is that it didn't repel people. In particular, there was some talk about the Hispanic vote coming home over the issue of immigration. That did not seem to happen much at all. You know, the FNVA suggested, I think it was 40% was Trump's performance amongst Latinos. That ended up being, I think, within 13 or 14 points of Harris's. I mean, if you showed me data before the election and said, you know, that he's going to get 15% of the African American vote, 40% of the Hispanic vote, I'd say that's an awfully tough night for a Democrat to win an election in.
There's some reporting that Trump has won Erie County, Pennsylvania. Is that square with anything you understand?
I think it was on sort of a knife's edge. I don't know if Bill's got the latest data, but
it was
it's part of her hope, right?
Went back to the Trump team, and right now, currently, just to keep you guys up to date, he leads it by a point and 1.4, which is a little less than 2,000 raw votes.
And it's 99%
left out. How much is it? 99% in or 90? What did you say?
90%, statewide 90%. Darren, I got a question for you. When you think about the blue wall in the upper Midwest, when we were at the convention in Milwaukee in July, it ended on a Thursday. On a Friday, we had that national computer glitch, and all the airports were shut down. So all the delegates and all the journalists and all the campaign folks were stranded at the airport in Milwaukee. And I was still thinking at the time about, you know, why did I just see Kid Rock? And why did I see Hulk Hogan? And why did I see Dana White? And I went to the campaign and I said, what's going on there? Because it was men. It was white men. And they said, we notice in the upper Midwest, at the time they were thinking about Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio to a lesser degree, and Pennsylvania. That's what they were thinking about. And they said, we noticed that there was a certain percentage of white men who voted in 2016. They sat out 2020, and we're trying to win them back. Is there evidence that those white males in those upper Midwest states did
white males?
There was sort of a rule of thumb we were adopting that, and we spoke about this a little bit earlier in conversation with y'all, but that, you know, the gender gap is a double-edged sword. The gender gap can help or hurt depending upon, you know, the absolute level of support. We were looking at 55%. In other words, if Trump was hitting 55% with men, that was a good sign. If Harris was hitting 55% with women, that was a good sign. And in the upper Midwest states, he was getting closer to that sort of magic number than she was. So what they call it the bro strategy or whatever, it seems to have paid some dividends up there. I mean, we're still waiting, but it's looking pretty good for him.
So we can definitively say that the poll that we don't talk about in Iowa was kind of off.
Oh yeah, another thing I wanted to say was if ChatGPT does it steal when it steals from Google, does it like when you ask it something, does it just like searches the entirety of like the Google results that you would get from asking something? So like it goes through all the pages, whereas like a person wouldn't. So like I still don't endorse stealing, but I don't know how I need to see like I need to like do some more research on Gemini. I don't know. I guess it's just about I just need to like make sure I cross-reference and hopefully I'm not wrong when I say something. Or when I believe something. We'll see. It's useful. Were they like did they pay out? Were they sued? Yeah, I wouldn't feed it personal info either. Wait. What did you guys think of the Beyonce performance at the Kamala Harris rally?
Cynthia Kramer, I have your wallet at
Oh,
the
they're
DJ
finally.
booth.
Oh, I thought they were finally.
Kramer, come to the DJ booth. I have your wallet.
I thought they were finally gonna have like start speaking, and it's just like somebody lost their wallet. I don't know if it's. Anyway, this is probably. I probably copyright a bit of it. Hold on, wait. It's not even live anymore. Oh my gosh. What the hell? Where is she? Kamala Harris live. Is she first post? Wait, what? Watch Kamala Harris campaign. Watch party. No. I want to watch her party live. Are they live? What is this? India Today. Oh, wait. Supporters dejected. Wait, supporters celebrate. Supporters dejected. What does that mean? Oh, from like that state lost. Which state? Okay, let's just check CNN. Oh. CNN projects Donald Trump will win North Carolina. Watch as ballots are processed in critical swing states. Which one? This one? This one has 52. Oh, this one has a lot of. Wait, they're not live. Hold on, they're not live. Wait. Who's live? Only this one is live? Watch as ballots are processed in critical swing states. Hold on, let's just go with them. So they're just doing a ballot thing. They're not live. Hello? Okay, MSNBC. think I want to hear a guy speak, like, rather than what is this? Let's see the difference.
Welcome to the world's first real.
Whoa, that's a lot. That's 246. All right, that's that. Oh. Does this not have any audio? Oh, this is somebody's camera? Wait. I'm confused. It's too quiet in here. The one that's epic music. It's got the popular vote so far difference. Uncalled racists. Is that the only one? Is there only one left?
Nan Seltzer, she's.
Where do you see that? Because a moment ago, Darren was out here and he said, in fact, not only did the bro strategy work, and the bro strategy largely worked along the lines of white men, but that the bro strategy also had some impact in terms of Latino and black men who came along and gave higher percentages.
All right, Carl, weigh in.
I just want to make one more point with one. I spoke to Jack Brewer this week. And here's what he said, if Trump wins. He said he won because black men felt that Democrats and elites put immigrants before us. Your thoughts on that?
I just think that that's possible. I don't know that for a fact. I think there are tensions between racial groups, and people might feel that. Obviously, they're going to be, you can exploit those tensions, and you can exacerbate.
Between racial groups, because they brought so many racial groups in together at once that it was kind of became a culture shock for everyone. And so like, and also like there wasn't really the infrastructure for them to do that. I think that they should have set things up properly, or like maybe, you know, don't do it during like when inflation is so high and like everyone's being taxed and nobody has any money and nobody has any jobs, or so like time and place, you know. Anyway,
that black men are somehow prejudiced because they vote for a white candidate who says, I want to make certain that everybody has an opportunity to succeed in our great economy. I want you to be more prosperous, and I will do.
okay, what are they saying? What are people saying on X? Like nobody, Kamala's not live. Are people like heckling her for that? I'm gonna say it. Why isn't Kamala live? Why is that hashtags working? The estimate, electoral college estimate, Trump 306. Harris 232. That's the estimate. Defund the CBC. Oh, sorry. That's just somebody saying that, not me.
But here earlier, I think that the fact that some of these issues around the economy and the border were not addressed more forthrightly, I think had an impact. That being said, we're going to have some analysis around this and around whether or not the driving up support amongst men, what was behind that, how did it work, did the gender gap with women, did black women, white women, Hispanic women? We still don't know those numbers. We'll have an opportunity to dig into some of those things, but I don't interpret what Juan is saying any more than that.
All right, more to talk about here.
There's a lot more coming up as election night moves on at 1:15 on the East Coast. We continue to get more vote in. We will be able to make some calls when that vote is in full. Our coverage continues next. Stay with us.
Pennsylvania. Cheating is trending. Who's saying it? Watch Kamala Harris. Oh, campaign watch party. No, that's not. Doesn't mean she's there. It's just a watch party, and it just has music. I want to like hear people talking. This guy's talking.
Littlest Pet Shop. Open your own Littlest Pet Shop. More bobbling pets to collect. How big is your
Live now from Fox. Let's listen to Fox. See what they're saying.
Just want viewers that we continue on with this, a live look there in Palm Beach County as we await for former President Trump. And here joining us still is Casey Myers, Virginia Tech public relations professor. So Casey, continuing on with this point, because, you know, it really is a question of when, I feel, at this moment, the former president is going to come out here. What kind of, you know, what's the thinking behind this, especially when we see that so many of these people come out? I know that you discussed a little bit about wondering what they're going to say exactly, but how much does it really mean to a campaign, especially because we don't know exactly who is going to be the next president? I mean, is this more positive, more negative? What's that strategy?
Well, I would say that there's obviously the signal is positive because he's addressing his supporters tonight. There seems to be from that shot a lot of enthusiasm in the audience. And so I would see that as a net positive. And obviously Harris not addressing her supporters and them going home is a negative. But again, you know, one of the questions that we have right now is he waiting to hear some of these final tallies? It is all likelihood Alaska would go Republican, is traditionally Republican. It looks like from the polls that Pennsylvania is Republican. It was just not been called by anybody yet. Michigan and Wisconsin, I mean, and Nevada are still states that we don't know yet either, but are leaning Republican. So again, I mean, is he waiting for something in terms of an account to come back to the to his headquarters, and then also what is he going to say to the supporters in terms of, you know, his victory? Is this kind of the traditional victory speech? If you remember back in 2016 when he addressed the supporters, it was a victory speech, and again, that's typical of elections, but on the winning side, to address the supporters that evening, and you know, with the person that loses the election addressing their supporters maybe that evening or maybe the day after, or as information comes in. But again, in these kind of close elections, you have long election nights, and again, the fact that they're sticking around is a sign that I think that they are pretty optimistic about the outcome.
Right, and I think I want to go back to this point that I had made, that back in 2016, we did see something similar with Trump addressing his supporters before Hillary Clinton did. Of course, he did win during that election. What does that say about each of these candidates? Is this something that's distinct to perhaps the Republican versus the Democratic Party, or are we just talking specific on personalities here?
I think it's the personality of the candidates, but I also think it's the reality of momentum, right? So Trump clearly has the momentum going into this evening, particularly now. I think there's a lot of excitement around some of the numbers that have come back, and the statistical possibility of a Harris victory, I mean, is diminished tremendously by how you're seeing Trump outperform in some of these areas in Pennsylvania, and particularly doing better than he did in some areas than he did in 2016 even. And then you also see a Harris underperformance some of the areas that she needs to win. What she had to do was to recreate the Biden coalition in 2020 and get that coalition out, and then also hope that a lot of the kind of disaffected Trump voters didn't show up, didn't support him. Some of the undecideds leaned toward her and not toward him. And that didn't really materialize tonight in states like Georgia and North Carolina, which they saw as potential pickup states. Again, the other thing that's is very telling about this election in terms of some of the results is that we're seeing many of the kind of urban cities that have traditionally been very Democratic. They're still Democratic, but it's about that margin. Trump's margins are a little bit better than they were in 2020, and in a swing state, that makes a lot of difference. And so, again, I think that everybody's kind of reading into that data, looking at the statistical probabilities, looking at what is the percent chance of being able to win. And how many votes you need left with all of the votes that have come in states like Pennsylvania. And they're doing the math too, and they know that, in all likelihood, you're looking at a victory. So again, I think both sides are doing that calculation, and as traditionally, the victor's going to address his or her constituency groups and supporters that evening of the election.
Casey, hindsight is 2020, and I just had to put up this live picture that we have there because you can see the crowd kind of going wild, dancing around. There's a lot of optimism, a lot of momentum there in Florida, even though we're way past midnight at this point. But I want to bring us back to just last night, actually, because we did have some dueling campaign rallies. At the same time, we heard a speech from Vice President Harris in Philadelphia, her final one before Election Day. And then we heard from former President Trump in Grand Rapids, Michigan. To just kind of compare and contrast both of those speeches, I think Harris spoke for about maybe 20 minutes or so. Trump went for almost 2 hours. Do you think that that was really appealing to those supporters, and based on what we've seen today with these elections?
I think Trump's supporters are very loyal, and I think that his base clearly has an affection for him, and that's the kind of speech they want to hear, and they're very receptive to that message. I think Trump really did in the last days of the campaign seize upon a lot of issues. I mean, he took a negative, which was the comedian's joke about garbage, and then used Biden's comment to then reverse that negative momentum for something for himself. And so, again, that's really kind of the momentum going into the end of the campaign. Some of the things that he was doing, I mean, we think about, and there will be a lot of kind of after the fact analysis of what went on into this election and what made him win in some of these states that were really kind of toss-up states. But I think a lot of it has to do with just consistency of message, staying on message, having events, having rallies. It's an unconventional way of campaigning. It's not the traditional going door to door and canvassing. It's also not a campaign that outraised its opponent. So that's been a kind of a narrative that we've seen in a lot of elections where, the person that raises the most money wins. Harris had a campaign fundraising advantage on Trump. So again, I think that it kind of the momentum going into the end, and there were some people kind of reading those signs, and it was not polling, it was just sort of gut instinct saying, there's some momentum here. There's something going on that we think that this may end in a Trump victory. And so I think that that's really one of those things that polls may not capture very well. It's just enthusiasm and just sort of the momentum of the campaign. And we saw that with Trump. And Harris had some of that as well with celebrity endorsements and some of her supporters coming out for her rallies as well. But again, it just seems like Trump had that edge in that area. So I would say that this is something that maybe a lot of his supporters were anticipating. I think they were cautious about it, though, just given the fact that they had lost in 2020 and given the fact that, some of these polls were just such razor-thin margins.
So speaking on the fact that so many analysts are going to be looking at this again, kind of backtracking a little bit here when we compare Trump and Harris and getting to this pivotal moment, now in the election cycle where we're seeing this, tight margins, but at the same time, like you were mentioning, how Harris, she did have all of that optimism right at the beginning. And now it's kind of materialized to this point where it's looking like, the former president is really ahead in many of these states, kind of garnering all of that. When we think about the messaging that both of them had, what are some of the comparisons that you can draw on that perhaps, Trump or Harris even maybe were stronger at kind of driving that point home and having voters trust in them?
So I think that what Trump understood in his messaging was that he understood what resonated with voters. And so the big issues, the economy, immigration, crime, and then also reproductive rights is another issue that's more of a Democratic issue. But the top three issues of immigration, economy, and crime were something that Trump was running ahead on. Now, what Harris and the Democrats were running on was a kind of a stance of anti-Trump sentiment, and I think they were also running on reproductive rights, which had actually been a very successful talking point for Democrats in 2022 during those midterm elections. So they're running on that, but again, Trump, I think, had a message that resonated with voters, particularly some of these voters that may have been undecided or may have voted for Trump in 2016 and then voted for Biden in 2020. And so I think that as we look back on the election, that's going to be one of the big issues that we are talking about in terms of, what was the kind of the messaging around each candidate. The other thing is that I think there's going to be a lot of discussion around how Harris came in to being the nominee. So we had Biden as the nominee, had a terrible debate performance, and then Harris emerges as the nominee, not going through that primary kind of fight that most candidates have to go through. And did that hurt her in a way to not introduce her to the American public? Did that hurt her and the ability to just get organized? Does that slow momentum? And we know, historically speaking, candidates that come
in 4 years from now, he's going to have the mantle that he can hand to the next Republican. So I don't know how Republicans ever go back to the old party that they were. But it is truly extraordinary, and it is all by the force of one guy, one man who had the fortitude, the strength, the vision, the refusal to accept anything. All of the experts counting him out, and he just kept on fighting.
Charlie, it would have been one thing for him to come back from a single defeat to be elected again. But when you think about it, he came back from a series of them. I mean, his party lost in the midterm. In his
2018.
They lost in 2018. They lost the presidential election in 2020, and they had a major disappointment in 2022. Which one might have thought after all that the party wouldn't turn to him again, and yet in the face of that, plus all the things that Martha enumerated, the indictments, all the other troubles that he had, for him to come back from that is really quite striking.
And think about how toxic he was after, say, January 6th. And then you're looking at races now in states where Donald Trump very well may drag Republicans, and he's overperforming in a lot of places fellow Republicans.
It really does. I think there are parallels to 1980, Mark Penn. When you look at Jimmy Carter, we had hostages in Iran, we have hostages in Gaza right now, very high inflation and a malaise in many ways in the country that I think these people who have been called a lot of names have had enough of. What is your impression of what this means tonight?
Well, I think this means a lot to a lot of people. I think the working class are looking for a renewal of American jobs. I think people are looking for a border that is sane and an immigration system that works. I think a lot of people over in the Middle East are looking for Iran to pull back in the face of a president whom they fear. And, look, I think it's going to be incumbent on
statement there to say, but maybe not so bad given it was nobody really knew who was going to come out on top, but that's just how elections go, right? In this election cycle. Casey Myers there, a public relations professor at Virginia Tech. We appreciate your time. We hope to check in soon, and we'll have to see how this all plays out.
Thank you.
Of course, we want to step away for a quick commercial break here at Live Now from Fox. A reminder, though, that we are still waiting to see if former President Donald Trump, not if he's going to speak, it's kind of expected that he will, but when is the question at this point. And plus, we are still tracking all of these results that continue to be called, not just within the presidential race, but all of these other state, Senate, and House races as well. So we'll have more coming up.
It was a really bad idea, and it's self-corrected. Capital, and this is why I'm getting on a plane tomorrow night. I intentionally didn't leave till tomorrow night so I could go to Geneva, go to Abu Dhabi, go to Riyadh, and say it's 21% corporate taxes, 100% not going to change. That is very important for people like me that bring capital back to this country. It fixed itself. It fixed itself. And I think that's why America works. It has worked for 200 years. When it gets too crazy, it fixes itself. And whether you love Trump or you hate him, every Democrat owes him a thank you very much, Mr. President.
By the way, as the markets, the poly market and all these election markets were moving, Bitcoin went up exponentially.
Yes, I'm long Bitcoin.
Are you? So you're buying later.
You know, speaking of Bitcoin, I'm also struck by just calling Pennsylvania here, Dana. Trump embraced Elon Musk in an enormous way. A lot of stories were written that said that he was going to blow it in Pennsylvania, that the people who were
Explore a week in wartime at meetingwiththepast.com.
Love somebody who is a big thinker, who wants to create jobs, who is like looking into the future, and they can get behind that. And they love somebody who can really lead. And leadership takes courage. And you have to be willing to make decisions where you are going to be criticized. I think this is one of the problems that Kamala Harris has always had. She doesn't want to take a position on anything. We haven't even talked about how in California, the law to basically make shoplifting illegal again passed overwhelmingly, and Gascon, our friend down, the DA in Los Angeles, lost by 22 votes. I mean, this is in California, so it was everywhere. And 2 days before, 22 points, thank you. She wouldn't even take a position on that. 75% of the people in California wanted it gone. You can't take a position to be with them.
Not only that, you were part of Prop 47, which changed the law the other way when you were in office.
So not wanting to take a position and not being willing to be criticized is a problem if you want to be a leader at that level.
She had that affliction in 2020. Why didn't her own party say, you're not the right candidate? I mean, run a process.
Well, they did. They ran her out of town right before any votes were cast in 2019.
But the same affliction
out of there.
Hit her here. The same problem she had in 2020 hit her in 2024.
She's the same person.
I mean, it's not all her fault. They put her in a race that she, well, we now know couldn't win.
But Karen, in fairness to Democrats, there's no doubt. I agree with you on unrealized capital gains. We shouldn't be taxing that. But we produce more wealth, more innovation, more oil, more cures, more therapeutics over the last 3 years. So I hear you. Democrats are not bad. For the economy, some things she proposed that I'm with you on, but we're a great country, and we're going to continue to be great. And I trust and hope and believe that President
Your party will be great again.
I want the
and you can thank Donald Trump for that.
But he inherited an economy also that was in pretty good shape. I don't.
And like so many celebrity endorsements, like it's kind of, you know, like. So they arrest Diddy. So hold on. So they sit on Diddy's arrest. What reminds you of Jessica Rabbit? The lipstick? So they sit on Diddy's arrest. Then Donald Trump assassination happened. Then they arrest Diddy as a distraction, allegedly. to distract from the assassination. So then like all this stuff's revealed about like freak offs and stuff, and then they go and get all of the people, all of the they go and get all of the freak off attendees to endorse them. What are you doing? Like you just showed the whole world like all these, you know, what these people are doing, and then you go and get all these people to endorse you, like, and then people are, and then I don't know, like, okay, I don't want to be rude, don't want to be rude, but like, I don't know, it was just like, are you trying to lose the election on purpose? Like, I don't know. See, then I start questioning, like, like maybe, I don't know, question everything. Here's the thing: when once Trump is in office, now he's responsible, you know, and then it's time to question him about things that are you know, inevitably are going to go wrong, because that's just how things are in politics and government. Things go wrong. So, you know, when he's going to be the next president, it seems. So, you know, it doesn't mean that that's it. Like, doesn't mean that you can't question him and, you know, what that, you know, if something goes on. That's how it is. So, hi, Woodfast. Oh my god, is that? Yeah, it's digital. Well, yeah, it's digital lipstick. Reminds you of Jessica Rabbit. So I'm wearing this. Oh.
Wouldn't have happened was all that wild spending that led to the inflation, or led to a big part of the inflation. And Biden and the country would have been better off because of it. There's always a danger in overreading your mandate. One wonders if Trump would be sober-minded about his.
I think that happened to Biden. Early on, remember he said that he's going to be returned to norms, and then the historians came in and said, no, you could be bigger than FDR. So he says, fine, okay, I'll spend all the money.
I don't have a red lipstick, so
and now
that's
they end
why
up with this result.
Well, he has said that this looks like new President Trump, if he gets to 270, which we expect he will fairly shortly. Yes, exactly. Has a moment to bring about the unity that people expected after the last election. Of course, we would be kidding ourselves to think that there won't be a tremendous response to this, tremendous backlash in a lot of corners of the country.
So listen, he's going to get there because Alaska's going to be Republican, but we're not done as far as calling states. There could be even more states that go Trump's way. This could be a massive landslide just by what we're looking at in the polls. Fox News Decision Desk count now project that Vice President Harris will win Minnesota, and her running mate Tim Walz serves as the state's governor there. That takes it up to 267 to 226. But again, Donald J. Trump will be the 47th president of the United States. More Democracy 24 special coverage next.
Is it official?
We can say is that if you look at Donald Trump's poll numbers and you add 3, you come to just about what he's going to get. And if you look at where he was in the polls as of this morning, well, as of Election Day morning, and you add +3, it's almost exactly where he is. So it's a pretty surprising event in that I think, once again, the pollsters and the prognosticators, they all seem to have missed it.
Was there anything that we learned from 2016 about why the polls have such a tough time tracking exactly how Trump voters think?
Yeah, well, you know, it's interesting. I think 2016 was very different than this year. I think in 2016, people just out and out lied. I think people did not want to fess up to the fact that they're voting for Donald Trump. I think back at the time, people were either embarrassed or whatever it was. They didn't want to admit that they were voting for Donald Trump, and so they weren't truthful. I think what you're seeing tonight, and this is going to I think this is going to take some time for pollsters and professionals in the business to figure out is how did they miss this? I don't think you had the same issue that you had in 16. I think they missed a lot of young people. I think they missed a lot of blacks. I think they missed a lot of Hispanics. I think there were great issues with the polling this time that they didn't count. They severely undercounted Donald Trump, and they severely undercounted him in certain constituencies, which are clearly coming home to him that were unexpected.
You know, Austin, I can't remember who we spoke to earlier today because we've been doing this for so many hours now, but we had another political analyst come on and say something to the point of, you know, the polling these days is just not effective. So, you know, people track them for months here to try to give us a prediction, but it just, like you said now, it just doesn't come to fruition no matter what they do. So what needs to happen? How does this cycle even compare to the ones in the past?
Well, I think the polling community, the public service survey community is going to have to really figure out what's going on. I mean, in all fairness, things have changed radically as far as the technology goes. I mean, there used to be a time that they only polled people who had landline telephones. You know, they used to poll people based on economics, people who had certain magazine subscriptions, and they were off. And polling changes as history changes, as technology changes. People now are almost all cell phones, almost all using computers. It's a very different way to reach the public. And I think the polling community is going to have to figure out a way to do it, or it's just not going to get used anymore. You're not going to report it anymore because it has no relevance if it's not true. And if you look across the board tonight, not just in the presidential, but in other ways, there have been major changes that they just didn't pick up.
So, Richard, question about the blue wall. We've talked so much about Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. I've said multiple times tonight that ever since 1992, these three states have voted together. In 2016, they voted red. Every other time since 1992, they have voted blue. Why is it that these three states tend to vote together?
Well, you know, it's interesting. It makes sense they vote together. You know, we've created states sort of somewhat arbitrarily, somewhat historically, but the people are the same. The issues are the same. The issues of someone in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania are very, very similar. People voted tonight for their pocketbooks. People are really, really fed up with the high cost of things. And that's really what you're seeing out there. And the people in Wisconsin and the people in Pennsylvania are very similar in how they look at these things. So it makes sense they vote together. I mean, if we didn't have these arbitrary state boundaries, there'd be one huge state and, you know, we wouldn't be so surprised. Look, the cities are going to vote a certain way, and we're seeing that tonight. Now, the cities are way under where they were for President Biden 4 years ago. You know, the urban centers are not voting for Harris the same way they voted for Biden. So we're seeing that, but generally the states are very similar. You know, people aren't all that different. You might live in one state or another, but, you know, the economies of the three states are very similar. It makes a lot of sense that they would vote the same way.
You know, Rich, it's so funny. When I was listening to the answer that you were giving me about the polling,
2024,
this morning that I asked a question about
now
the
they're
polling
like,
and
yeah,
why
I'm gonna
it
go back to
hasn't
the
been so
sledgehammer.
effective. That just shows how long
Fuck
we've been
this
doing
shit.
this and how long you've been on here
It's
with
not
us,
right.
kind of breaking this all down. And
fucked
to
up.
that point,
what
reflecting
do you
back on the
expect?
last few hours and everything that we have seen thus far, what has been maybe the most surprising turn of events for you?
Oh.
Did he really think Kamala was going to win, honestly?
Yeah, the nation is rich, but the people are poor. The people are poor. What is this? You're complicit in this for your disgusting coverage this year where you presented Kamala to be just as bad as Trump. I hope it was worth it. Yeah, I played a huge role in the outcome of this. Yeah, I always did that. You're right. Maybe she shouldn't have fucking said, I'm going to be the border person after literally openly communicating that the border was a stupid fucking idea for like 8 years. What the fuck? You think people are that stupid? Even the dumbest guy you know was like, wait a minute, didn't you say the border wall was racist and now you want to do the border wall? Sorry, I'm going to go with the border wall guy. I said that. That was the first thing I fucking said.
Okay, so he's a Trump guy?
They should have never let you go to the convention. Yeah, that's the reason why the Dems lost. Because I went to the Democratic National Convention.
Anyway.
Don't worry. All the fucking shit that I've been saying, guess what? First, the Democrats are going to say, it's people like you that is the reason why Kamala Harris lost. I have no evidence for this, but that's what my feelings are, and fuck you. Then,
I thought he was going to be wigging out or something. I thought it was going to be funny, but I didn't know he
about
was
issues
on.
that really matter to people.
I thought he was like
And
a
it didn't just
I
win
didn't
for
really know
him.
much
You know, he's carrying the Senate. Look, if things go the way they are at the
yes,
moment,
that's okay, Keck.
a
That
lot
is
of senior Democratic senators are going to go. You know, Ohio's been called to the Republican. The Democrats are behind in Wisconsin. They're behind in Montana. And it looks like they're behind in Michigan. So there may be 5 flip seats tonight. This is, you know, you're talking, this is 1980. This is 1994. This doesn't happen all that often. This is a big turn of events tonight. This will change American history.
Okay, so Richard, what I'm going to show behind me here right now is our House map. We haven't been checking in on this too often, but I heard you say that it's looking like it might flip or that it might stay Republican, I should say. 2 questions. Why is it seeming to you, what are you seeing out there that's indicating that it looks like?
Me, a red line also is mass atrocities, is collective punishment, is what I see going on in the Middle East, and I see us as complicit in. So they, you know, were saying, I'm not just that enthusiastic. Yeah, and I'm not going to get out.
I got 15 seconds for you, Steve. I just think when I see this unfold, Trace, it is just a massive victory.
Hey, Babby's Ferris, America. You can barely hear me. I'm so sorry.
Trace, thank you. The Fox News decision desk can now.
Hold on, maybe I need to like boost my microphone. I don't know if that's gonna. Oh shit!
President of the United States.
Oh shit! Is it official? Oh, in Wisconsin. Okay, okay.
4 years ago, he is now the second president in U.S. history.
No, he won.
Non-consecutive terms.
He won.
Grover Cleveland in the
Oh my
late
God.
1800s. Senator J.D. Vance will become the 50th vice president of the United States. Voters expressed
How do you feel, guys?
frustration with the Biden administration and former President Trump and the future President Trump overperformed in urban
How do I make
areas,
my microphone louder?
men, proving that the strategy that they doubled and tripled down on over the course of the last few months absolutely succeeded and brought him back to the White House.
47th president of the United States.
Now we can go to space. You're so hopeful for the future. Well, the work's not over yet. Now Trump has to undo certain things that were done. Hopefully, Trump is going to help Canada.
Runs the table with these states and builds on a big landslide electoral win. We don't know where the popular vote is going to finish out, but we do know that he will be going back to the White House, and with him, Brit Hume.
I wish I had like a
lot of changes
party streamer or something like that, something to celebrate with.
He often accounts for the fact that he had so much turnover in his first term, in his term as president, by the fact that he really know Washington, and he was new to this realm that he had come to win the presidency, and he promises us that now he knows whom he wants to have, the kind of people he wants to have around him. A lot of people are saying that means a lot of very experienced people around Washington will be ruled out, and maybe they will. But it's going to be very interesting to see the kind of people he reaches out to and reaches out for in the days and weeks ahead as he builds his administration.
We're joined by Kayleigh McEnany, Trey Gowdy, and Katie Pavlich. Kayleigh, you've been part of the last administration. You've seen you can see the joy in all these people's faces. Think about the angst and the, all that this campaign has been through. And now there is the prospect of creating what you want to create in a second administration. Your thoughts, 30,000 feet of this win.
Indictments, 2 assassination attempts, an unlikely come-from-behind victory, and history is made tonight. This is a huge moment, particularly because this is a tectonic shift of the Republican Party. If all of this exit polling is true, you now have black voters, Latino voters, young voters coming in a way that we haven't seen the party bring in a very long time, and that's due to former President, now soon-to-be current President Trump. And I just want to say this as we wait for him to come out. I remember having a conversation with Ivanka Trump in 2016 about his remarks.
Mark Cuban, look, Mark Cuban says, "Congrats, real Donald Trump, you won fair and square."
Speech A was a more boisterous Trumpian speech. Speech B was a speech full of unity, and he looked up. Ivanka said,
J. Trump is now president of the United States. President
What a great honor to be able to introduce for the first time ever anywhere the 45th President of the United States of America, Donald.
I'm sorry. I think you guys know what meme I'm watching right now.
For their gracious aid.
I'm sorry.
I am so sorry.
Okay, at least she apologizes.
I am so sorry to my world. This is not what we want.
Oh.
We will face challenges.
Okay, anyway.
They're a little more prepared this time. They've got a great transition team. And
I thought she was apologizing for her, like, screaming. Wait, anyway.
His transition team has
Let's
done a
not be,
wonderful job
let's
vetting
not
potential
be
candidates.
rude.
And to Kaylee's point, I think a liberated Donald Trump is never going to be on the ballot
In your
again.
book,
This is
yes,
his
you're
last
so
term.
hopeful.
I think
Now,
he
okay,
will
okay, so I already
surprise
read that.
his detractors. I think he will be not anything like what his detractors have described him as being now that he is liberated. If I'm wrong, you can hold me to that. But I think he will. A liberated Donald Trump is going to shock his detractors.
He has said that the assassination attempts had an impact on him. You know, we saw him in many ways return to the very rough and tumble style that we've seen in Donald Trump towards the end of this. But now he will take the stage tonight as the next president of the United States, and he will not be able to run again. Yeah. And I think
He will not be able to run again. Why?
Potentially for President Trump. Katie.
We'll never underestimate
Why
the power
won't
of unfinished
Trump
business. This is a president who has caught lightning
be
in a bottle
able to
twice,
run
and
again?
the second time around, he now has a MAGA mandate. He will have a Senate that he can use to push through his cabinet appointees, who can work with him on legislation, who could potentially replace a number of justices on the Supreme Court.
He could build a wall.
He could build a wall. He has a working group
Criminal
in Washington,
convictions.
D.C. We'll see what happens with
Trump
the House.
were
He also
to
has been
be
working very hard on
convicted
his
of a
transition,
serious crime.
get the right people around him. He talks about the lessons he's learned, about the first time in the White
was
House.
he not
So this is a
convicted?
mandate tonight for him, and I think he should get a lot of credit
There
for
might be
doing the work on the
legal
ground, going to these states
impeachment.
to pull
Although
these
Trump
Senate
was
candidates across
impeached
the line
twice, he
with
was
them.
not convicted by the
What do you
Senate on
think
either
the
occasion.
analysis is
He
going to
had.
be? There's going to be a lot of time to
Had
digest
he
all
been
of this.
convicted, the
We'll
Senate
focus
could
now
have
with the president.
legal cases and
Incoming
ongoing
president is going to
investigations,
say.
state ballot
What do you
changes.
think the
There are
analysis is going to
efforts
be
in
on
some
the
states to
Democratic Party
change.
and what?
In summary, while there are several potential barriers to Trump running for president again, none have definitively disqualified him at this time. The outcome depends on ongoing legal proceedings and interpretations of constitutional provisions. So, like, that didn't really answer my question, because, like, this lady was just, like, flat out, he can't run again after this. And Chat GPT is being a little vague. I mean, not actually, it's not being vague, but it's not really. It's giving me like 3 answers, and it's all like if.
Our colleague and friend Mark Halperin, who's been very astute this particular cycle, he thinks there's going to be blood in the streets and people are going to be hysterical. I hope not, but it could happen.
I am really looking forward to reading some of the stories, probably with a lot of anonymous sources amongst Democrats with the recriminations, and it's going to be fast and furious, and you will have people saying that Joe Biden should have dropped out the day after, not dropped out, but said he was not running for re-election on the day after that midterm in 2022, and either endorsed her or said, let there be a primary, and Dr. Jill Biden, there will be thoughts about her, and I wonder how chilly that White House is going to be for the next 90 days as they try to figure it out.
And let me just say that as Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris will certify the election results on January 6th.
A lot of irony in that moment. Harold, your thoughts?
This is how our country is organized, and it's a great education, I think, for people who had very high passions in this race. There are Democrats who were fervently for Joe Biden. He performed poorly during a debate, and the party switched to Kamala Harris, and there was genuine excitement, I think, built over a period of time. And some of that excitement was an aversion and almost a dislike and a disdain for Donald Trump. But I hope it's a moment that we can all grow from, because if we don't, not in a selfish, partisan way, Democrats won't progress. And I don't think you can fly and soar as a great country unless you have both wings working together. And President Trump, tonight, I'm going to be interested in that tone, Kayla. I was reminded of your words, reminded of what you said as you shared it. I remembered that story, and I hope and pray for the country tonight that President Trump, who has every right to be joyful, every right to celebrate, will give a speech with that tone tonight that in many ways could help him do all the things that he campaigned on in this campaign.
What does this mean for the Never Trumpers and the Lincoln Project people and Bill Kristol and people like that who seem to abandon
I wanted to hear this, but my ears.
In Pennsylvania, that is
This guy's sad.
the opportunity to call this one in favor of Trump. So that brings me to my question, and it's about a question. What
I don't want to be remiss here. He is talking about energy independence, manufacturing, an economy where everybody is working, no new foreign wars, getting out of the entanglements we currently have, respecting and resourcing law enforcement, border patrol, military. And by the way, friends, we don't get those policies without that personality. What did we hear during the Republican primaries? I want Donald Trump's policies without his personality. Good luck with that.
I know Elon
You don't
Musk
get this strength and this
where
resolve
is
and this
this?
toughness.
Mar-a-Lago.
You don't get those policies without that. But I want to say this. It's on this phone that Huma Abedin placed a call 2:30 a.m. on November 9th, 2016. And on the other line was Secretary Clinton to concede the race to Donald Trump on my phone. I handed it to him, and I said to Vice President-elect Mike Pence, make sure Hillary actually concedes. She did. And President Trump was gracious to them, too. They came to the luncheon at the Capitol after the inauguration. The Obamas and the Clintons were there. I was there to see it myself. And then something just changed. The Washington Post said, let's impeach him at noon. 2 minutes
I'm
after he's
assuming
inaugurated.
Elon Musk
Melania
is
wrote
here.
about this in her book. So, Harold, I hear you. I hope everybody can unify. But I got to tell you, my friend, I think it starts with your party and not mine.
Fair enough.
They had this guy in a courtroom. He's not an indoor cat. I get it. They had him in a courtroom. They have him impeached. They have him, and whether people think that was justified
Trump
or
won
not,
Vinny.
now is a good time to respect the will of the people.
Lamborghini.
Forget about us, the will of the people.
I agree with you. I'm just saying be a gracious winner.
Trump won. How do you feel?
I agree. And I know you will. That was
As an
my only
American.
point.
I heard a gracious winner today when I talked to him. I really did. He's known for a while. He was going to. I wrote a piece on FoxNews.com October 11th saying he's going to have a narrow landslide. I think he's felt that for a while, but he wanted to go and earn it.
And I even think the
And
people
she didn't
around
earn
him
it.
have to be gracious too. I think he will. I know
that's a
him as well as
difference
you,
that
but
you
I
get.
think the people around him can be gracious as
That's a
well.
different question.
We can always hope.
Yeah, well, that comes from the top.
Once more, I just want to say how much money was spent on this election. $15.9 billion worth of bill.
Wow.
B, if you spend $1,000 a day for 2,740
But I just want to say, every presidential race has a medium. You know, you go back to television, cable. This was,
Can you
in
guys still
some
hear me?
ways, a podcast experience of a campaign. And those are free to go on podcasts. And you wonder how much of that money really needed to be spent when there's a lot of ways to reach people, but I think it's really interesting and something we'll be talking about a lot in terms of the reach of these endorsements.
I was struck by the final
and Musk and the rest of
the
them.
final ads where
They were excellent.
They talked about making America great again, but then ending with the assassination attempt and that fist in the air, the iconic image, and the fight, fight, fight.
Absolutely. Warrior president.
And it worked.
Yep. Yeah, toughest son of a gun we ever saw. That was the last note we see in that ad. And I think, for whatever you think of the guy, I admire that.
Yeah.
I mean, the adversity he's faced, everything we've seen in other presidencies and other political figures who've gone through all kinds of trouble are pale in comparison to what he's been put through.
No,
Maybe it's time for his enemies to stop it.
Not only that, but the energy that he has is truly amazing. He's the Energizer Bunny. Let's check in with Aisha Hosni, speaking of the Energizer Bunny, at Trump headquarters in West Palm. Aisha, this has been a big night all night long. I'm sure it's really getting fever pitch now.
A big night, Brett and Martha, a long campaign for the former president, for all of us, the press corps that have been following him around now for more than a year. The crowd went absolutely nuts when Fox News called it here, and people were hugging each other, they were high-fiving each other, that people were on FaceTiming. I think they were just couldn't believe it that this happened tonight, and they didn't have to wait days and days and days. We are now awaiting the former president to take the podium. He is here in the building, as is his running mate, now Vice President-elect J.D. Vance. They're backstage. We were told they were going to come out as soon as the election was called, and so now we're just waiting. We asked for a 2-minute warning. I don't know if we're going to get one, but hopefully we will see him soon. And so I just want to add a little bit of perspective, just as a Capitol Hill reporter that's been covering the former president for a while. When I came to Congress 3 years ago, talked privately with many powerful Republicans who did not want to see the former president back in Washington, and then to see the legal battles that he went through and Republicans having to stand up for him. And then he went through the primary process. As Kellyanne Conway just said, he earned it state by state by state, and then came back to Washington in the spring and went to the RNC and claimed the nomination. This is the greatest comeback that I've ever witnessed personally myself. And so I look forward to seeing what he says to the country here tonight and to his supporters. Back to you.
Aisha, thank you. The Harris team is now texting to say Vice President Harris will
I don't know if you
speak
can hear me.
tomorrow, and that will be her response to the election results. That's all we have from the Harris team, which is really
and I don't really
from
want
a
to
PR
wear
perspective, Dan.
No, I
these
also
headphones
just
anymore.
think it's a shame because I remember when John Kerry did this to George W. Bush in 2004, and you work so hard, and I know that they're disappointed, but you should concede and let your opponent have their election night, and let everybody that's there at Trump, at Mar-a-Lago, where are they? They're in Palm Beach.
They're in West Palm at the convention center.
At the convention center, like, let them have their moment without anyone. Like, I remember Andy Card had to come in and say, well, yes, we know we won, but we have to wait until John Kerry concedes, and then we all had to traipse back in the next morning and wait, and you don't get that moment. I don't think it's right. And
that's not to say there's not going to be a phone call. There could be a phone call tonight, but she's not going to speak public.
If there's a phone call, they have to make it public. And then nobody needs to hear from her. So if I were her, I would do it tonight.
I mean, they had that whole setup in front of Howard.
Because all of her people were already there.
Everybody was there, and it does feel like you want to just collect the moment and do it the way the Clippers do.
They were holding out hope. They were holding out hope that the blue wall could somehow come together, but it's going to be a red wall.
90 minutes before that, we're told to go to bed.
I got that text.
90 minutes before all of this, Jen O'Malley Dillon, the Harris campaign person, said everyone can go to bed
Sorry,
and come back
I
tomorrow.
was not speaking into the microphone once again. Alaskan blue wave will bring home the elections. Kamala 2024. I'm pretty sure Trump just won already. He just won, so I think you're a little bit late. But Fortnite Fat Boy, congrats on your new president.
And he's expanding his folks.
And welcome to the chat. How you doing?
Look, I think that Kamala
Thankful
Harris
that
is
your
a sign
family
of the
chose
times,
Canada instead of
but I
America
think that
when
Trump is
leaving
the metaphor
Lebanon
for the
back in the day.
And when he says we don't surrender, fight, fight,
I
fight,
didn't know you were Canadian, or maybe I did and I forgot.
That's what it is. The other thing I just want to say, maybe it's as a Catholic, maybe it's just as a Trump
But
supporter. Maybe
so,
it's
but
just as
but
a
but
human being.
Canada's a mess right now. Jet lag. How do you feel? I'm glad like Trump is gonna like I think help.
Second chance as
I
big
think
as this one.
he's
And
gonna help
I have
Canada.
got to believe the man that I know
So.
and that Kaylee worked with is going to
What do you
work
think?
with a certain alacrity and energy to get things done very quickly. What he can do through executive order, what he could do with the Congress, bringing in the governors. Nobody gets a second chance this big in their lives and just puts it on the shelf like it's a trophy or a gold star. He's going to use that as a platform for good and undo some of these bad policies, and I think do even better. You know, these celebrities,
I can't wait for the health stuff they're gonna. They want to like do an overhaul of like all the crap that's in our food. Or you know, in our like, they want to like fix the health and the health of the people. That's the part I'm really excited about. You're in Toronto? I didn't know that.
The question is,
What do you? How do you? How long have you been in Toronto?
Kaylee, it's a multiracial party. To your point, it's working class, and maybe it's the future. I mean, it's
Who else is live? Oh, let's see. How does let's see how these some of my favorite YouTubers are reacting if they're still awake, which I don't see why they wouldn't be. Let's see.
Welcome to the world's first real. My favorite. I know
Still
that
live?
Coca-Cola is like one of the woke companies, but I know what is it? MLB is a woke company. NBA is a woke company, but I need to have a little bit of time away from the culture war. So, do I support people that hate me? Kinda, but I mean, I need my sanity just a little bit.
Kamala 4 years, 8 years. Wisconsin said that.
You think as long as you can spend
NBC
time
confirmed.
here with people that you love, it's all good? Since you left Lebanon in the 80s. Wow. I didn't know that about you, Jet Lag.
This is the meme that I was looking for. I don't know how to do this. Psychiatrist right now. Yeah, they're gonna make bank. It's gonna be a complete killing
right now.
in money.
Don't. Like, at least you're free and not locked in, like locked down COVID style. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Relax. Okay, okay, fall of the Berlin Wall, which was a good thing, right? Tiananmen Square protests and massacre. That's not a good thing. End of communist rule in Eastern Europe. That's a good thing. End of Soviet-Afghan war. That's a good thing. Exxon Valdez oil spill. Not a good thing.
You see that officially Pennsylvania new life form. Pennsylvania won't be officially
U.S. invasion
called
of
until
Panama.
morning.
Not
The
a good
boards
thing.
went to bed. Not kidding,
Launch
but we don't
of
have
the
the numbers.
Nintendo
Just
game.
can't
I
release
mean, at
them
least I don't
without the
think it's a
board's
good thing.
permission,
I don't think
but
an invasion of anything is really
everybody
a good thing.
has the numbers.
Invasion is not a good word. Like, that's like a negative
we
word,
do?
right? So, not a good thing.
When are they
Launch
coming
of the
back? In the
Nintendo
morning?
Game Boy.
No,
Good
I
thing.
will be sleeping.
Debut of The Simpsons.
time.
No way. 89 is such a good year.
I should be going to sleep some
All
point. So the Daily Wire, Fox News said Google is not moving.
I met this girl. So that surprises me. But is she even? I just want to see like what people, how people are reacting.
announced that he's going to be the next president, but just based on what we've calculated here, Kamala Harris could not win president without winning Pennsylvania. And if they're projecting Donald Trump's going to win Pennsylvania,
Wait, did he not win Pennsylvania? I thought
the man
he
is
did.
going to
I
be the
thought-
next president.
I thought
ABC
he'd win.
News has the national map at Donald Trump having
Does he win or not win?
266 without even having Pennsylvania. Without even having Pennsylvania.
No, that is with Pennsylvania. They gave it to him.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
projected
is that
winner.
what
There it
happened?
is.
They haven't given him up in Maine his vote, and they haven't given him Alaska.
So did he win or not?
So that'll give him two. That'll
Are
give him
people saying he
270.
won because
So
like
they
it's
give him a
pretty
lot.
much?
So if we're now we're
it's
only
pretty
looking at
much
ABC
over?
poll.
Like it's so close that.
Yep, there it is. Boom,
It's so close
208.
to-
Trump is on track to become the 47th president. There y'all go.
Okay.
All right, there y'all go. I think we've seen it from CNN that he's won in Pennsylvania. We've seen it from ABC. And the reason I'm not giving these more credit than Fox News. If I only saw it on CNN, I would want another news source. I would want something else. And the more I'm seeing he won Pennsylvania for sure, and the more I do know because we already calculated it, Kamala cannot win without winning Pennsylvania. So now it's just a matter of time. Thank you for the $10 super chat. The longing for simple solutions, exactly. And what we have to definitely do is work together, and we can't be relying on any daddy government or mommy government to save us or to help us do anything, because we have to rely on our own selves. Okay, so this ABC blurb says, key race projected. ABC News projects Trump will win Pennsylvania's 19 electoral votes, which puts him on course to win at least 270 electoral votes and the presidency. He now has 266. And while ABC News has not yet projected the 3 electoral votes in Alaska or the 1 vote in Maine's 2nd congressional district, his edge so far tonight suggests that he is more than likely to. Additionally, he leads by varying margins in Arizona, Michigan, Nevada, and Wisconsin. Trump's impending victory is historic for a multitude of reasons. He is just the second former president to lose re-election and then return 4 years later to win back the White House. Democrat Grover Cleveland was the first during the period of 1884 to 1892. He also won despite various personal legal troubles that were unprecedented for a major party presidential contender. It remains to be seen if Trump will return to office with his party in full control of government. ABC News has projected the Senate will go Republican, but the House remains up in the air at this late or especially early hour. Three minutes ago. Polls have closed in some states, and the first results are coming in the high-stakes presidential matchup. Oh, this is from 11:56 p.m. That was a long time ago. Okay, let's see. Is he talking?
Way to do it. But before you get there, you gotta get the purpose of the message.
No. Let's see what they're doing over here. They're gonna call it. They're gonna call it on. Yeah. They still didn't call it over here. Okay, so New York Times is just holding out on Pennsylvania. Still haven't called Pennsylvania, New York Times. But that's fine. ABC has called it. CNN has called Pennsylvania. Has the AP called Pennsylvania? No, but we do have 2 updates over here.
Something.
Harris wins 1 electoral vote in Nebraska. Trump wins 1 electoral vote in Nebraska. Trump wins. Yeah, I mean, it's over. Trump has 2 points left to go, and they could come from any number of places. I mean, he could win Wisconsin, which has 10 electoral votes. He could win Michigan, which has 15. He's won this one already. He could win Nevada. He could also win Nevada. Could win Arizona. I'm gonna say Donald Trump is the next president of the United States. 47th president. There's no one. I'd rather have beside me while I'm working to keep me posted on what's going on. Much love to everyone. We are the people that matter. We the people matter. That's who matters. We the people. Thank you so much, Back to Basics, for the $5 super chat. Oracle Tarot Benji, thanks so much for the New Zealand 199 super sticker. And I pretty much don't have very much else to say. Let's see. Let's just make one more sweep through here. Been on here. Feel like I've been on here for so long. 6 hours and 8 minutes so far. If you have enjoyed this coverage or learned anything or appreciated it, the Legal Fund is linked in the description box. Or you could, whatever else. But I'd appreciate the donations there. Trump needs 4 more electoral votes to win presidency. CNN projects. Here's where things stand. Oh.
He won.
He
Are
won.
we waiting for him, or are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. They got 82% reported in Arizona.
No, 82% likely. Remember.
No, I think that means reported. It says
No.
R.
57.
Oh, yeah. All right, everybody. Well, that's all I really had for today. In the meantime, Fat Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Yes, indeed.
Yep. Those are
yes, indeed. Shanti Shanti Shanti. Amen. There it is.
Peace, peace, peace.
Whoo, girl. All right. Well, thank you, Sean. And I think on that note, I'm falling asleep. No, nobody is storming anything. We're not doing that. We're going to be doing peace and love. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. That's all I really had for today. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation. Love you, Minnie. Bye.
like that? USA, 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 USA. Cola Sprite, how's it going? Emperor of Cheese, just passing by. Great news, guys. Cheers, cheers. Cheers, Emperor. Thank you, thank you. As a Canadian, American patriotism used to annoy me, but after 4 years of Biden-Harris, and after 8 years of Justin Trudeau, and seeing how the US was on the same path as Canada has gone down, I no longer found American patriotism to be annoying. And I'm all for America, USA, let's go. Let's get the economy booming, all that good stuff, and let's also fix Canada and the rest of the world too while we're at it. Yay! You know, that's the hope. That's the dream. All right, so who else is live? Praise the Emperor. I want to keep this tab open. Let's see what Adam is saying about Trump winning.
Update, because I know it's 266 right now. Literally, none of that was a flex. You're correct.
No audio? Oh.
Welcome to the world's first real battle royale. Holy
hours of the day after election day.
Why are all these old people still like awake? Like seriously, how are all these old people still like? It's like 2 a.m. for them.
No, it's only
Like, how are the old people still awake? Time in Florida. It's almost 3 a.m. for them. It's almost 3 a.m. for them. How are they still awake? Damn.
Alright, so he's just praise the Emperor. Variety show. Okay, that's done. He'll be back.
I don't think I can play this, but yeah, I think
These guys
Baron not politics. Baron needs to be in the